Hi guys, it's Ben Heath from Lead Guru, and in this video, I'm going to show you what to do if nothing's working. If none of your Facebook ad campaigns are performing results, your cost per conversion is far too high, and you've tried everything you can think of. You've tried testing new targeting options, new ads, all sorts, and you just cannot get it to work. What should you do in that scenario? Because I've definitely been there, and we've got some strategies, some techniques for overcoming that situation and getting you past that roadblock. Before I get into that, I just want to very quickly ask you to smash that like button. Please click that thumbs up button. That'd be really help me out, be much appreciated. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new and haven't done so already. Okay, so you're in that scenario where just nothing's working, right? And I'm basically going to split this, for demonstration purposes, I talk through this, I'm going to split this into sort of two sections. So there's one option whereby perhaps you've been running Facebook ad campaigns for a while. They were working previously, perhaps you scaled up, and they've really trailed off and just nothing you can do. You've tried to reinvigorate them, you've tried to get them back up and running well, just nothing you can do will bring them back. That's sort of scenario one. Then there's scenario two, perhaps you're new to Facebook advertising. You've tried a bunch of stuff and just nothing's working, nothing's sticking as you're sort of throwing it at the wall. What do you do in those scenarios? Because the approach is slightly different. So I'm going to talk about the first one of those first and then get into the other one. So as I said, you've got Facebook ad campaigns, they were working, perhaps you scaled up, you ran them for a while, nicely profitable, trailed off, and you've tested a bunch of new things, but you can't get them back to where they were. So perhaps you tested new targeting options, new ads, new offers, all the things I talk about that you want to be doing in terms of improving Facebook ad results, and it's just not working. What should you do in that scenario? I think you need to strip things back to basics. So the first thing is scale that budget right back down. We know that lower budgets in general produce a lower cost per conversion than higher budgets. And if you've 10x'd your budget over a year and now things just aren't working anymore, one thing to do is bring that budget right back down. Not forever, just temporarily. We need to get your campaigns performing properly at a certain level before you can then look to scale back up, because things have obviously gone wrong, okay? So initially scale them back down. And what I'm talking about is a separate new campaign here. I'm not talking about taking your existing campaigns and scaling them. I'm talking about pause all of those, whatever you've got live, pause those, create a new, fresh campaign that is stripped back to basics, much lower budget, and simplify everything. Maybe 2 or 3 ad sets in that campaign, perhaps 2 or 3 ads. Go back to stuff that worked well previously. Perhaps there are old ads you ran a few months ago that worked really well that you haven't run in a while, that you think you could get them back up and live again. If they performed well in the past, get them live. Go through your targeting options. What's performed best so far? That's what you want to focus on. So strip it right back to basics like that in a brand new, fresh campaign. Give that a week. Very often, that campaign will actually perform quite well. And then once it performs quite well, you can start adding complexity, start scaling up the budget, all that sort of stuff. But get it back to basics first. I think one of the reasons why you've got to strip things back to basics is because it's very easy, as you get more sophisticated as a Facebook advertiser, to add layers of complexity and end up with a very convoluted Facebook advertising account with tons of CBOs, many layers of retargeting, all sorts of audience exclusions, and just everything can get quite muddled and confused, particularly if you throw in a load of dynamic creative in there. It can get very, very confused. And yeah, basically you just sort of see an ad account kind of almost give up. It almost goes, oh, I can't work it out anymore. And that's when you just see that higher cost per conversions and it consistently staying that level. So scale everything back, straight back to basics. Let's say you've done that, you've left it a week, 2 weeks, results still aren't good. I think that's unlikely, to be honest, but let's say results still aren't good. What do you then need to do? I think you then need to do something completely out of left field. And where I'm focusing on when I'm saying do something completely out of left field is the ad creative. You need to come up with some ad creative in that scenario that is different to anything you've done before, different to anything people in your industry are doing, something that is going to get you noticed, something that is going to grab your audience's attention, is going to get them telling their friends and family about it, which is the sort of the holy grail of any Facebook advertising. If I was to mention now like TV ads, TV commercials, think of some ones that you remember. I bet you can remember some that are 5, 10, maybe even older, 5, 10 years old, maybe even older than that, right? Because they're excellent advertising, really sticks in the mind. And if you think back to those ads you can remember, what do they often have? Well, they certainly don't look like every other ad, right? They're very different usually to regular advertising. They often have something that's very odd in them, okay? That you remember because it's just out of place and strange and you haven't seen that before and it sticks in the mind. You know, I could think of funny sort of TV ads, an example where they've like got a man dressed in a gorilla playing the drums. You know, if people in the UK will probably remember that ad. I believed it was a Cadbury's one for chocolate bars. You know, remember that sort of thing. So what can you, and how weird is that, right? Advertising chocolate bars and they got a man dressed up in a gorilla suit playing the drums to like music. I mean, how odd is that? But I think there are far more things like that can be done by Facebook advertisers as well. So really think about what can you do that is way out of left field that might work really well. I'll give you a perfect example of an actual Facebook ad that I ran, and you may be able to find this on my page somewhere actually if you hunt for it. I haven't ran it in a while. But I got my dog. I got at the time he was 5 months old, Springer Spaniel puppy, cute as hell. He sat up on the desk with me and I was talking about my Facebook ad template, getting people to download it. And I had him sat up on the desk with me and he's just sat there being really cute. And that ad did so much better than the ones without the puppy in. Now, you might say, oh, that's a bit gimmicky. And sure, it is to some extent, doesn't mean it doesn't work. How many people like me do you see in Facebook ads, right? They're talking about how to get great results with online advertising, or people talking about drop shipping or how to make money on Amazon, or, you know, I'm definitely not in those categories, I wouldn't like to think, but I could easily be lumped into that to a cold audience, right? I'm much more of a Facebook advertiser, more of a technical guy, but you can get lumped into that sort of stuff. And if you're advertising, particularly in competitive industry, and people seeing your competitors' ads a lot, how are you going to differentiate yourself? Something really weird that's completely out of place. What's this Facebook advertising guy talking about with a really cute puppy sat on the desk right next to him? That grabs people's attention. That makes a huge difference. And we had all sorts of comments being like, oh, puppy's really cute, all that sort of stuff. And I think that you don't necessarily need to use a puppy, right? But what can you put in your ads that is just so out of place that it's guaranteed to grab people's attention, hopefully entertains them, hopefully gets them talking about it? It's not the first place I would go with Facebook advertising. I'd go with more sort of regular conventional structure. But remember, we're talking about a scenario here where nothing's working. You've tested all the regular stuff and it's not working. You've got to just go for something really weird. And by the way, if you try something really odd, you might have to try 5-10 different versions on it to see which ones land. Okay, so those are sort of the two steps then that I would use if you've had Facebook ad campaigns that performed well, but they trailed off and nothing you've done to try and improve it is working at all. If you're just getting started and nothing's working, you most likely have the wrong approach. So what I see a lot of people when they get started is, let's say they hear somewhere that this is how you should advertise on Facebook. You should run a brand awareness campaign, then retarget with a traffic campaign, then retarget with a conversion campaign. That's not what I recommend at all, by the way, for the vast majority of businesses. You can find out my other videos for things like campaign structure. But it's usually because they've got the wrong sales funnel. I will see people who are advertising a $20,000 service using a sales funnel that's appropriate for a $40 e-commerce product, and vice versa. This happens all the time. And they think they've tested everything. You're just getting started, you think you've tested everything because you think you've tested, well, I tested all these interests, I tested a video, I tested a carousel, I tested a slideshow, but you haven't tested very different approaches. You haven't tested messenger campaigns, you haven't tested other things that might work really well for you. So what should you do in that scenario? You've got to use the right sales funnel. You've got to use the right sales funnel for your price point, your type of product and service. My recommendation with this is to check out a free webinar I've created. A link will be in the video description below. And in that webinar, I've basically got 3 different sales funnels that are designed for very different business offerings, product service providers, different price points. And I sort of explain, if you've got this type of product that you're selling, or this type of service, or this type of info, whatever, you need this type of sales funnel. And I'd strongly recommend you go through that webinar. It's completely free. It's about 60 minutes long. It'd be some of the best time you'll ever invest, honestly, if you're just getting started and nothing's working, because you need the right approach for your business specifically. And that's exactly what it shows you to do. Link is in the video description. Okay, so hopefully that has been useful. If you fall under the first category, where things work for a while, and you're trying something really out of left field, I'd love to see and hear about it. Right? So please, comment below with what you're going to put in your ad. With those sorts of way out of left field ads, what we often find is they're very hit or miss. Like they'll either just completely do nothing and just won't be good for you, or they'll be absolutely incredible. Like our dog one. I mean, we reduced our cost per opt-in on that Facebook ad template by something like 65% with the dog version versus the non. I mean, we recorded the exact same video, dog version, non-dog version, and that's how it came out. So yeah, so go ahead and let me know in the comments below, because I'd find that absolutely fascinating to see what people are doing with their ads, what they're being all creative about. And I think that Facebook advertisers get a little bit lost in the technical side of Facebook advertising far too much and ignore the creative side of things to their peril, because the creative side of things is the part that people see, it's the part that matters, the part that people care about. Yes, you need to have the technical side set up right. Of course you do. And I have loads of videos on that, but creative is super important as well. Okay, if that video's been useful, please comment below to let me know. Please like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. And of course, go ahead and join my Facebook ads mastermind group. We have just under 60,000 members in that community right now, one of the biggest communities of Facebook advertisers in the world, full of amazing people just like you that are willing to help each other out, answer questions. I do free live trainings in there almost every week. So if that sounds like something you want to be part of, go ahead and join. Again, link is in the video description and it's completely free. We'd love to have you in there. Great. Thanks a lot, guys. Best of luck with everything, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Bye.